Hi guys, it's Mark from Burton Bibles and welcome to another video. Today I thought we would look at something a little bit different. I've been thinking about this for a week or two now, but what I thought we would look at is, and don't worry, my tongue is firmly in my cheek with this video slightly. We're going to look at some Bibles that are great for reading in the hammock. I have a hammock in my garden and I like to get in there of an afternoon, especially during this lockdown period, and just spend some time in there, sometimes take a Bible in there and have a bit of a read, and sometimes a notebook as well, and jot some things down. So I was taking various Bibles in there and I thought, why don't we do a video where we, light-hearted video, where we look at Bibles and we look at perhaps which Bible or which Bibles are best to take into a hammock, or in other words, a Bible that's suitable for taking outdoors in an informal sort of setting, perhaps you're lying down or reclined, something that's suitable for that sort of thing. So it's a bit of fun, and I hope you enjoy the video. We're going to look at a fair few Bibles, so that's good as well. So let's go down to the desk and just talk in a little bit more detail about them. Okay guys, so we're thinking about Bibles that we can perhaps read in a more informal setting outside, like in a sun lounger or a deck chair or a hammock, as I have titled the video. So this is just a little a light-hearted look and an excuse to dig out some Bibles and perhaps think about them in this context, because with the best will in the world, sometimes we're not sat at our desks or sat in our churches, especially at the moment during this lockdown. So it is perhaps convenient that we look at this, because there may be times when we're outside in the garden enjoying a bit of a read. So hey, it's something to think about anyway. So just a few provisos about this video then. So we're looking at video, obviously, at Bibles that are perhaps a little smaller in size, to assist with that portability aspect. I'm looking at Bibles that aren't necessarily premium, so not bound in luxury materials, etc. And again, that's because obviously we don't want anything to spill on that, or to get damaged or dirty or etc., or lost indeed. So these will generally be perhaps non-leather bound. So that's what I am looking at, and I have a mixture here of reference and text edition of Bibles. So let's start with something that's a little bit left field, but certainly I took this in the hammock the other day and found it to be a really good companion for the hammock, and that is the Tránsito. So this is the Tránsito Bible from Cambridge Publishing, Cambridge University Press rather, and this edition is very much overlooked, but I find it excellent. Obviously it's very small, it's way less than hand size. This is a pocket-sized Bible, although it does have some width to it. It is very small. It's only bound in card really, so it's perhaps not very hard wearing, and it has that against it, but certainly in terms of its size and dimensions, it's really good. When you open it, you will find that the Bible is printed sideways like this, and it has a dual column text to it. Now that's really interesting and really clever, because if you print the Bible like that, you're basically going to get a similar page real estate to something like a Pit Minion. If you lift that and put it on there, it's about nearly the same size, and actually this is really readable. Now it is in paragraph format, and don't get me wrong, I did find when I was holding the Bible that obviously your thumbs and fingers are going to get in the way, so you end up kind of moving them around as you read, but hey, that's no real hardship. If you're just happy just to hold it in one hand like that, you actually get a really nice reading experience. Now the Tránsito is a really cool Bible. It's a few years old now. I think it was produced for the 400 years of the King James Version, so it's about 8-9 years old now. But it is printed and bound by Royal Youngblood, and it is a 2K typeface setting, so you're getting a really well-designed, well-printed, well-bound little book here, and they are not expensive at all. These probably go for somewhere around £10 or so now. So that's our first stop on this journey, the Tránsito, a great little Bible indeed for taking around the place anywhere, that offers a very unusual format, but as a result a really nice reading experience, and certainly good for potentially taking on holiday or reading in a deck chair or a hammock, as I discovered. So that's our first Bible there, the Tránsito. But let us move on slightly, and we'll have a look at another small form factor text Bible, and that is the Ruby from Trinitarian Bible Society. This is the Ruby, so it's a little bit it's a little bit bigger than the Tránsito, and it is bound in calfskin, so I am slightly cheating here, but certainly these are not expensive. When we open it, we've got a much more traditional layout here. Double column, text only, no references, just some running headers across the top, and nothing really to speak of in the back as far as helps go, just a little word list, glossary type thing. Now the print in here is smaller, I think, not as readable as the Tránsito. You know, obviously it has a less page real estate, but nevertheless it's a compact Bible. It reads quite well. It's portable. But I did find when I was reading it that it doesn't lie flat very well. So if you wanted to just open it, you know, on your stomach or on your legs, whatever, and just read it like that, it's going to struggle to stay flat. Now, as you use a Ruby, it may well lie flat. I don't know. Mine isn't as well used, perhaps. But again, it is another option if you're looking for something small to pop in your pocket. And take out in the garden or down to the beach or what have you. So that is the Ruby, the Trinitarian Bible Society Ruby text edition, this one in the calfskin. So there's that. Now let's move on to a reference Bible, perhaps, and let's move on to, I know you're all waiting for me to mention the Cameo, so let's mention the Cameo now. Here is the Cambridge Cameo. This one is in imitation leather. So this is another King James Version Bible. It's bound in this really nice, quite nice two-tone imitation leather, I find. And it's my favourite Bible. No two ways about it. I think the dimensions are fantastic. So this is a little bit bigger. Certainly not as portable, and it has that against it, not as portable as the Tránsito or the Ruby, but it does lie flat beautifully, and bound in imitation leather. It is not expensive, I don't think. It's still about 55, 60, 65 pounds, something like that. But what you are getting now is a full-size Bible, if you like, not condensed at all. It's got references, and it has a concordance, maps, and you know, all sorts in the back of the Bible as well. So we are getting more Bible, if you like, into our hammock reading experience, if you will. It is a red letter as well, as you saw there. But this is just taking the readability to another level, if you ask me. This will lie flat beautifully as you're lying down, enjoying the sun. And you can read this at any distance, as I was finding out the other day. Absolutely beautiful reading experience. Obviously, if you're not a King James Version reader, or you prefer a more modern typeface and setting, that's fair enough. But this is a lot smaller than something like a Westminster, which, spoiler alert, isn't going to feature on this video. Well, not in its standard form, shall we say. But it is offering a really readable reference Bible format. So this is a great hammock companion. I'm sorry, well, no, sorry, not sorry for mentioning the Cameo again. It's just fantastically dimensioned and proportioned, and is a fantastic reading experience, particularly if you like the King James Version Bible. Now, let's move on to something else. We mentioned the Windsor just there. So this is a new Bible for me, and that is the Compact Westminster. Reviewed this a few videos ago. Admittedly, I didn't think its dimensions were going to suit this application, reading whilst lying down or something like that, because it is quite thick. It has a blocky feel to it, a chunky monkey, as we say, and it doesn't quite lie flat, and the text does, the references anyway, do disappear into the gutter a little bit there. So it isn't the best, admittedly. Also, obviously because we've got these big margins here, the text and the text font is quite small in this compact Westminster form. So it's not an ideal companion. I did mention I felt there was some ghosting. It's not the greatest. It's okay, but it's not the greatest. So yeah, I read this for a short period of time and then was just thinking I may as well get my Cameo out and read it because it's going to be an awful lot easier. So we will mention it, an honourable mention perhaps, the Westminster Compact. But I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, you're always going about the Cameo, Mark, but what about the Concorde, the personal Concorde? Fantastic Bible, and indeed it is. And here we have a personal Concorde bound in the imitation leather. So you will see that this is a very low cost and reasonable Bible, approximately £35 retail. And when we open it, we find that we're getting good page real estate, very similar to the Cameo. Personally, I don't think it's quite as readable as the Cameo, and we'll perhaps see that from this shot there. The Cameo just has this bolder, ever so slightly larger perhaps, although I think they're both 8-point fonts. I think the personal Concorde might be a little bit less perhaps, but nevertheless it just seems to stand out more, the Cameo font. Now I am just checking now, and it is indeed a 7.5 point in comparison to the Cameo's 8 point. So yes, there's a little font increase there, but it's the boldness and the shape of the letters that I find so readable. But nevertheless, the Concorde is very good, and it's nearly half the price of the Cameo, although I would argue that you're getting a much nicer production in the Cameo, because this Bible is printed and bound in Belarus by Print Corp, and it's just not quite as nice as the lovely Cameo there. But it does have a full suite of references, the concordance, a glossary, all sorts in the back, Bible lists, Bible dictionary, and maps. It's got even more in the back of it than the Cameo. So if you're looking for a cheap, or low cost rather, Bible that's portable and that will lie flat in your lap in a hammock, then the personal Concorde is certainly worth a closer look. Now, let's have a look at another Cambridge mainstay, which is the Pit Minion. A lot of you will probably be screaming at your screens saying, what about the Pit Minion? What about the Pit Minion? Well, I do like the Pit Minion. I certainly like the Pit Minion in other translations. I don't know why that is. I just find the King James Version Pit Minion, I just don't get on with it as well. I'd rather grab a different KJV, well, probably the Cameo, to grab and read it instead of struggling perhaps with the King James Version text in that size font. But I do love the other versions, and in particular I want to give this one a shout out, which is the New Living Translation. This is in imitation leather, again very similar to the Cameo imitation leather that we saw. In fact, there is the Cameo, and you can see it's identical. But this gets this lovely, it's sort of an orange, sort of sunburst orange, sort of gold bronze sort of colour lettering on the spine, which is really nice. You get a super flexible text block because of the page dimensions, and this is very fine Bible paper, which is lovely. Obviously, it is quite smaller font size, and it is in paragraph format, which isn't my favourite. But nevertheless, as I was sat there having a read, it's also a red letter, this one. It was actually fine, especially in the natural light. I wasn't struggling, and the book was far enough away, because I'm slightly short-sighted, it was far enough away that I could read the text quite well. So it is a reference Bible as well, which is nice, and you will get a concordance depending on the translation. Of course, it will be slightly different in each one maybe, but you do get a concordance and maps in the back as well. So really like the New Living Translation. For an easy reading translation, it's definitely one of the better out there, but I also have New King James and New American Standard. I don't have the NIV Pit Minion, but hey, you know, with that many translations on offer, we can quickly get ourselves a translation that we get on with. So I've picked the NLT for this Hammock special, if you like. Really good option. Lies flat and is really nice. Now, moving on as we come to a close, we are going to look at we've just got a couple remaining, and that is the Emerald text. This is a Bible from Cambridge that is quite overlooked for some reason, but the Emerald text is really quite nice. It's a text version Bible, as we've said, and as we look into it, it's got a very readable font. It wasn't one of my favourites to read though, and that was because of the French Morocco cover was quite stiff, so it was struggling to lie flat, and I just didn't like the feel of it in my hand. But nevertheless, it's a very readable text Bible. This one is printed by Print Corp in Belarus as well, so it's not quite as nice to hold. It's not as tactile perhaps. The binding's just not as nice as some of the other Cambridges that we've looked at, but it is slim. It is a little bit bigger though, as we can see there, but nevertheless it offers a clear KJV text reading experience. So this is another one to look at, and it is a lower cost Bible as well that you might be interested in taking a second look at. So that is the Cambridge Emerald text. And then another Bible which I thought was fantastic, and one that I read for perhaps the longest time as I've been in the hammock over the last few weeks, is this one. This is the Windsor from Trinitarian Bible Society. The Windsor is rapidly becoming one of my favourite KJV Bibles. It's just lovely. It is just lovely. This is the same font and text really as the Windsor, but as the Westminster, sorry. But when you strip the references out of it, which is basically what the Windsor is, a non-reference Westminster, it is just beautiful. The look of it, this creamy sort of ivory coloured paper. It's very fine paper as well. This is good quality paper, and you get this beautiful readable layout. And I was really enjoying reading this. I found it very easy to read. Yes, that the font isn't as bold perhaps or as clear as the Cameo, but nevertheless it was beautiful to turn over the pages and to spend some time with this Bible. Now in the back there's not a great deal in it, but certainly if you're just out to do your daily readings in your hammock or your deck chair or what have you, this is really nice. Now it's bound in calfskin here, and that calfskin is a little more on the stiff side, but it's not quite as stiff as that French Morocco that we saw on the Emerald. But nevertheless, this is a really nice text reading experience. You can also get this Bible in an imitation leather type cover, and you can also get it in a cheap, a really low cost vinyl backed edition, which I actually have sitting on my bookshelf, which is here. So this is super cheap. This is just a few pounds. And it's the same book block, it's just in this really quite cheap vinyl cover, but certainly this is fantastic, and really liked it. So in terms of winners, if we wanted to award some winners for this little exercise, I would say that the Windsor is my favourite for a text edition to read in the hammock. Grab yourself a Windsor and you will not be disappointed. You will not go wrong with that. It's a really superb text reading experience. If you like your Bibles a little smaller though, I would suggest the Transetto. Try a Transetto. I mean, for a few quid, you will get this really unique, really wonderful little Bible that is just perfect for holding like that or sitting down and doing some reading. So that is my text. My text awards would definitely go to the Windsor, and as an honourable mention to the Tránsito. As far as reference Bibles go, I would give the award to the Pit Minion. I would say the Pit Minion is a fantastic hammock hammock option, especially if you're after a reference edition, especially with all the translation choices that you have, and especially with these fantastic, I must stress this, the imitation leather covers from Cambridge are really first class, and I think the NLT one retails for somewhere around the £50 mark, maybe £55, something like that. And you can also get, one of my favourites is my ESV, the ESV Pit Minion in imitation leather. Just awesome Bibles, really flexible, feel great, lie flat, and the text, the font is just about, that is fine for reading outdoors. If you struggle with the font size there, then guess what? Cameo, all the way. Cameo, Cameo, Cameo. It is just an amazing, beautiful, clear, readable, awesome Bible that I can't speak highly enough about. And in this imitation leather, you're not going to get too worried about scuffing your leather or marking your leather or getting some drops on your leather. This is about as good as it gets for that. So it's flexible, it's fairly portable, and you can grab this and go and have a fantastic read, and your eyes will not get tired. You will just enjoy your read of the scriptures in your reclined position of choice. So that is my honourable mention, the award going to the Pit Minion, and an honourable mention for the Cameo. It's just a bit of fun, so don't light me up in the comment section for whatever reason, because I'm just not bothered. This was really cool to do, just to take some Bibles in the hammock and have a bit of fun reading them and enjoying them, and that's ultimately what the channel's all about. So I hope you're well, take care, God bless, and I'll see you on another video soon. Cheers, bye bye.